We have students who wanted to attend, so we always like to make this available to them. Hi, Jasmine, how are you?
Hello, I'm good.
Good to
How are
see
you?
you.
Good to see you too.
Yeah, so everyone, we do these virtual alumni lunch and learns monthly so that we can invite our wonderful alums back to speak to us about their experiences with NCCU, how they've transitioned into their respective roles, give you some good tips on what got them through and how they managed it all, because we know it's a lot. But I always just enjoy this time because just, knew Jasmine well. Jasmine and I became acquainted, like during the pandemic, really, right? So it was quite an interesting time, but it was also during the time, ironically, during the pandemic when we launched our cybersecurity lab. And so Jasmine was really involved with the lab. And so I certainly want her to speak about that and kind of what she sees hopefully is the future of cyber education, because obviously it's a very important topic. So with that, I'm going to just have Jasmine do a brief introduction. And then, Jasmine, you're welcome to go ahead and kind of start taking them through your journey, or I can ask questions, however you are most comfortable. And then I definitely want to encourage the folks that are on the call to, interject. This is very casual. Feel free to ask your questions. Feel free to put questions in the chat room. I'll be monitoring the chat to make sure Jasmine's able to see everything that comes through. But yeah, so thank you, Jasmine. Again, welcome, and feel free to tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay, hello everyone. I am Jasmine Pittman. I graduated from North Carolina Central December 2021 last year. So almost coming up on a year of being away from Central. I came to Central in 2019. The fall semester of 2019, I had gotten my associate's degree, and I guess my path wasn't as straightforward because I came in at, how old was I, 2019, 27, and I had two small kids. In fact, I brought my youngest son with me to the orientation where I met Miss Baker. And she was my advisor, and she was holding my baby while we were trying to get my classes situated. So I didn't have a very traditional route, but I still enjoyed my time at Central. Dr. Grant was so amazing when I was there. So sad that the future students won't be able to have her there. I actually started out computer science degree when I first got there. And then I went to a BEA conference, and that's when Dr. Grant told me she was gonna try to acquire cybersecurity and the data analytics route for Central, and she did. So I switched over to cybersecurity because I was more interested in the security part of IT, which led me to landing a role at internship at Red Hat. And then I was offered a full-time job at Red Hat, which I'm still there currently, working in data privacy. What else should I talk about?
What kind of led you to cyber and in this world that you are in?
So I originally I was in nursing school, and I got pregnant with my first son. And I stayed home for about a year, and I was supposed to return back to nursing school that following January. I had him in September, and I was supposed to return back that following January. And then I thought about, because I had been in like the healthcare for a while, and I thought about how I really like Christmas and being home with my baby. And I knew hospitals were open 365 days of the year, and I might not be home on Christmas. So I started doing research about just other different job roles that would be more flexible, but still make enough money to survive, and actually something that correlated with I could use my skills that I had in nursing. And I stumbled across IT. And then it opened up to like, it's so many things you can do in IT, and what do I want to do? And I thought I wanted to be a software engineer, which led me to computer science and Central. And then I got here and I was like, I don't really like to code a lot. Like, it's okay, but I didn't want to do that every day. So then I started doing more research, and then I stumbled upon security. And it's funny that like I told Dr. Grant about it, and she was like, it's funny you say that because I'm trying to get us a cybersecurity program. So that's what led me to switching to cybersecurity. And I really like it. It's a bit different from healthcare, but some stuff I learned in healthcare that I still use a lot of those skills in the job that I do now.
That is great. So tell me about some of the things you did. You know, obviously you, well, I don't want to steal your thunder. You worked with the lab, but you know, what are some things that you did to kind of supplement or enhance your experience and experiences with cyber while you were an undergrad?
So I was able to be one of the first people to work in our cybersecurity lab. So I kind of helped set a lot of like the back part of it up, because the first year we were all at home, so we didn't even get to see the lab until the second year. So I did a lot of like the background work and help with what I could when we were doing things online. And a lot of stuff I self-taught myself just by researching, which research skills actually helped me out a lot too in my job, because I do a lot of that now.
That's great. I don't know if you could, for the students that are on the call, just kind of drop in the chat what your major is. I feel like we have a lot of tech people in this. I just feel it. That we do in our chat space. So just let me know kind of what your majors are. So we want to make sure that we recognize, particularly those that are in information technology right now. So Jasmine, if you had to go back to thinking about your experiences, what do you think is kind of the one thing that really kind of helped propel you? Well, let's do it this way. Talk to me about maybe something that was challenging for you initially, and kind of how you overcame that challenge, and you know, what were some of the kind of ways that you navigated through some potential I don't want to say barriers, but things that may have prevented you from moving on?
Let's see. I have like two examples. So one of them was networking. I know people like they say networking is like the biggest thing, which it is, but everybody doesn't know how to network right away. So actually learning to reach out to strangers, or even going to those conferences, helped a lot. Learning how to talk to people in the industry and just growing your network. That was hard at first, and my internship actually helped me out a lot too, with learning how to network amongst people, my professional network, and growing it. It was one of the best, I think, things that I learned how to do, because I'm still networking to this day, and it's helping me with other things outside of my job, and probably help me in the future as well. Like I know we talked to Michelle Witherspoon, who used to work at Cisco. I would join the Cisco calls, but I would always have my camera off. And I remember specifically her saying, I had my camera off because it was nighttime usually when they did it, and I was home with my kids and they were loud. But I remember her specifically saying one day, like, the students should turn their cameras on and engage with us. So if you want to get a job, we'll know your face and we'll remember you. And I remember her saying that. And I actually somebody at Red Hat is really close to her, and he also went to Central, and he was an alumni. So we have like a Central alumni group where we get together and talk. And he was like, "Oh, I really want you to meet this lady that I'm really close with." He was like, "She works for Cisco," and he was like, "Her name is Michelle Witherspoon." And I was like, "Oh, her name sounds really familiar." And so he gave me her number, and I reached out to her, and then she is like my mentor now. So I thought that was really cool. And now I don't know if you guys know, she's with Amazon now. So I still keep in touch with her, and she's supposed to start up her mentorship once she gets settled into her new role. So I'm still networking wherever I go, and I encourage students to, if that's like not your comfort zone, to start trying to get acclimated with learning how to talk to people, because it's really going to help you. Even like now, if I wanted to go to another company, I've been networking with people outside of Red Hat and talking to them. Not that I would want to leave my manager right now, but I have those relationships to, if I wanted to go somewhere else to further my career.
That is outstanding. There's so many things there that Jasmine just said. They're so important. I want to just make sure we are paying attention to and reiterating the fact that, one, she networked, and the network that she had was actually a part of our board of visitors. So we do have a group of board of visitors that really do help the School of Business with everything from curriculum development to creating these networking opportunities. They do come into classrooms and speak. So anytime that you do have the opportunity to speak to them, they're all so nice and so willing to go out of their way to make sure that you guys are getting what you need. Feel free to do so. Reach out to me, reach out to your professors to establish that connection. We also have a cybersecurity board, as well as a information technology board. So there are definite folks all around you that are going to be able to kind of help usher you into that internship space. And the other thing she said that I thought was so important is, you went to a Cisco event. And so we actually yesterday, we just had our Cisco day. So I know a lot of times we think, we know what we want to do, and okay, well, maybe, I don't know, Cisco, I don't really want to do Cisco. Go, you never know. To her point, and I don't know whether Jasmine was ever interested in Cisco or not, but I think to her point, when she was there and she could speak to folks and she can meet and to interact, you see that even through that interaction, it led her to a whole nother company. So, you just never know who you are going to encounter when you participate and you're present in these opportunities that are being presented for you. So that is amazing. And I thank you for sharing that with us, because I think that's exactly what you're supposed to do to get you to where you are. And to your point, the NCCU alum, and I'm seeing some alums in the chat here. I mean, the network is super strong, super strong. So, you want to make sure too that you're really connected to the NC alums and get into that network of folks and talk about what you want. So Jasmine, so tell me, so you graduated 21, right?
Yes.
Okay, so you've been out for a year. What are kind of some of the adjustments you had to make when kind of getting outside of the undergrad space and now into that whole career space?
Some of the adjustments I had to make was getting back on like a regular schedule, I guess, because my schedule was pretty hectic in school, but it was also still flexible at the same time. But now it's just trying to get back into the groove. But I still work from home, so it's not as bad as getting up and, I guess, time management, trying to see how long it would take me to commute to downtown Raleigh and just worrying about traffic and stuff. But I think the biggest thing is just that I'm not a student anymore, and I have to fully adult, although I was doing that anyway, but just trying to get back into the groove of being a working woman.
So I don't want to and if you have any questions for Jasmine, please do put them in the chat, because this is for you all. So I want to make sure that whatever questions you all have, you're asking her.
I did want to bring up another thing that really helped me out when I was at Central was beyond networking and talking to my professors. I really formed like a really good bond with Dr. Grant. and Miss Baker and Dr. Wesley too. But when Dr. Grant was there, she had forwarded me an email about a scholarship. And it was like the pilot, they were just starting this new scholarship, and it was for women in tech and minorities who needed scholarship. It was two different scholarships. One of them was for like if you needed money to like pay for rent or daycare, or maybe your car broke down. And then the other one was like a bridge grant, where if you were a junior or a senior and you needed money to finish your degree, I think they would pay up to like $12,000 for you. If they would just money for you to finish your technology degree or computer science degree. And so I applied for it, and I think my car had broken down, and I was like, oh, I could really use the extra money. So it was like right on time. I applied for it. I think Dr. Grant wrote me a letter of recommendation, and I was granted that money. They sent me a check, and I was able to pay for my car to get fixed. But that also opened up another network to women who want to see me succeed in technology, which opened up for of them. They started another pilot program for women who had won scholarships, and I was able to get $20,000 of my student loans paid off through them, because it was a new pilot program they were starting to help us students pay off their debt. So that was another, and it's called the Last Mile Education Fund. And I still talk to them frequently, and I'm trying to volunteer for some stuff. So I still like try to send information out and let people know it's money out here in scholarships for people in tech.
That is awesome. I'm gonna, could you, if you don't mind, could you put that scholarship information in the chat?
Yes.
And I know somebody's asking for your LinkedIn. I can put that in there.
Right.
Okay. Yeah, that is so important too. And there's a ton of resources, especially, and as Jasmine said, women in cyber, has conferences and has these resources too. So you definitely want to make sure that you are taking advantage of those opportunities to not have a whole lot of debt when you come out of school. So that's great. Justin is asking, what was your first day like at Red Hat?
My first day as an intern was overwhelming, more so because I didn't know what to expect. I think when we go into internships, well, for me, I'm thinking like I needed to know a lot of stuff. And I'm like, I never did anything with data privacy, but it was the opposite. Actually, they expect you to not know a lot, and they're willing to teach you as long as you're willing to learn what you need to know. So I guess maybe the second day I wasn't as overwhelmed, and I was excited to learn, and I had a really good manager too who took me up under his wing. He helped me network with more people within Red Hat, and so I'm still enjoying it. I'm still on the same team too.
That is great. What do you think is the best way for a person to set themselves up for success regarding certification? What holds the most weight in tech?
I think what holds the most weight in tech is actually knowing what you need to know. I know people say you can get certifications, but when you get the certifications, they want you to still know the like in-depth knowledge and know what you're doing when it comes to certifications. I'm actually supposed to start studying for a certification, but my manager pushes me, like he's like, as long as you know your job, the certification is a plus, but the experience outweighs the certification. So
That is an interesting point. So the experience outweighs the certification. So that leads me to also believe that really getting into those internships are critical.
Yes.
And you really need to make sure that you're taking advantage of those opportunities. Now, when did you, now, you might have said this, but when did you get into your internship? What year were you?
It was May 2021. Yep,
Okay.
May 2021.
Okay. Oh, when you got into your internship or when you got into the role?
And
You graduated in May.
internship.
Huh.
So May I got into the internship, and then I graduated in December, and then I converted full time in December.
Okay, gotcha. That makes sense. Okay. Oh, very good. Very good. Any other questions here? I'm going back to the chat. What's the hardest part of your job?
Probably talking to difficult people, maybe, because I work in compliance, and people don't like compliance. They treat us like, I guess, the IRS. Nobody likes to see us send them emails, and they always pushing back with compliance, and it's like, well, it's compliance, like we got to get it done. I think that's the hardest part of my job. It's just dealing with people who don't want to be compliant.
Any plans for graduate school? Most companies will pay.
I thought about graduate school, but I'm not in a rush. I have looked into a few. I think I want to wait till my boys get a little bit older before I pursue graduate school, but it is on my list, but not right away.
And along those lines, what do you think are kind of the career path for someone in your space? Like, what kind of things do you envision you'll be doing?
I don't know, because I have so many opportunities. Like so before I transitioned into full-time, because I networked during my internship, I talked to 3 other managers that were on 3 different teams within Red Hat. And so, but they were all under like my organization of IT. And they all offered me a position to convert over to their team. And then I did a PowerPoint presentation about my internship and what I had learned. And I also had other VPs asking me to come to their organization. And then my VP came on and was like, no, she's going to stay in the IT organization. She's ours. So I don't know. I don't do, my job isn't technical now, but I have the chance to go technical, or even like transition into maybe AWS or just the cloud space, because we do a lot of that at Red Hat too. I'm still not sure because the space is so big. So I like what I do now, but I think I want to get more technical, more so once my boys get older. A lot of my stuff I picked because of my boys, and data privacy was really flexible. So, and it was something I actually enjoyed this summer. So
For sure, that's definitely fair. I understand that. Good enough. What was one of the more challenging classes you took while you were here?
CCNA.
CCNA. Okay.
Yes,
all right.
I think it was
Any
supposed to
questions
be
on that?
the networking class, but we had to do CCNA instead of the networking class. But
I see.
that
Okay.
one.
That one. Okay. Okay. What was the funnest class?
Any of my cybersecurity major ones. They were smaller, but we had fun in those classes. So I think ethical hacking, forensics. I'm trying to think. I actually like the policy one too. Maybe because I was already working out in policy, but I like that one too. But most of like my concentration classes were my favorite. Minus CCNA.
Yeah, minus that one. I hear it. But what were some of the things that helped, get you through that class? Like, were there certain programs or YouTube or a professor, or what helped you?
YouTube and group work. A lot of us studied together. or at least we tried to help each other, because some of us were lost together. So we tried to figure it out. And then that's when YouTube or Google, whatever came up on Google to help us. That's how we
Yeah.
got through.
Gotcha. No, I hear you. I hear you. So someone was asking about elaborating on CCNA and what exactly is that class?
It was like the fundamentals to networking. It just teaches you the basics of networking. I don't know if they we were supposed to take networking, like networking 101, but we didn't have a professor because it was a brand new program when I went in. So they just kept CCNA. It took the place of networking, but they may have a networking class now. I mean, I don't think it would be any easier, but they learn about just about the same things. But CCNA, they have a certification for that too. So I know Central had where you could take CCNA 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then sit for the certification. I only needed the first one though, so that's where I stopped.
Gotcha. Well, good. Well, I'm gonna kind of pause and let anyone else who may have a question to kind of give us any final questions, and certainly want to allow Jasmine the opportunity to do any kind of final advice and words of wisdom for our folks here that are going through what you just recently went through. And maybe you go ahead and kind of do that while anyone else who has any remaining questions are answering or putting it in their chat.
Okay, my final advice would be to always check your emails for those opportunities, because I check my email all the time. I had it come into my phone, and that's where I got a lot of the opportunities that I was able to do while I was there. Network, learn how to network. I think some of those, like the IT Eagles and the Women's in Cybersecurity, when they hold meetings, they kind of give you tips on how to network, or even just talking to your professors. Like, I use them too. They're a part of my networking crowd, and they have a lot of insight into some of the things you may need to know. At least I know Dr. Wesley did for me, and Dr. Grant, but now Dr. Wesley.
Yes, I was going to say, she's referring to Dr. Deanne Cranford Wesley. If you guys don't know her yet, she is the director of cybersecurity.
Yes. And my last thing would be to always be your authentic, true self. I show up as me every day at home and at work, and it makes life a little bit easier.
So true. Be your authentic self. I love that. Very good. Well, listen, we thank you, Jasmine. I know you're a busy person, so we are not going to take any more of your time, but we thank you for joining us for our virtual alumni lunch and learn. And we wish you continued success, and that you'll continue to come back to us and share your insight with our students. And yeah, we're going to be here cheering you on as you go. So we thank you very much. And we thank everyone who attended this lunch and learn this afternoon.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Of course. Thank you, everyone. Bye.